Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and today we're going to start off by dedicating this part of the show to Mr. B and checking our volumes, because he hates it when we check our volumes at the beginning of the show. And then I'm going to go to Dark Defender, who says it is close. Dun dun dun. I'm assuming he means it is close for XRP. I like the sound of it. I'm not going to play this, but they do have some really great circus music, which is totally appropriate playing over this. More is now being spent on interest payments on the national debt than on U.S. national defense. Debt is a national security problem, and that is the fact, Jack. In fact, look at this.
China dumps the largest U.S. treasuries in history to the tune of $53.3 billion. And that's just a one-time dump. We've seen them continue to get rid of their U.S. treasuries in record numbers over the better part of the last year. And it's not just China either. Many countries, even our allies, are deciding to move away from the U.S. dollar for a variety of reasons. Of course, with China, we know that sanctions are in discussion right now, but many countries already saw what happened with sanctions on Russia. And whether you agree with them or not, the bottom line is that the United States has proven that if you disagree with the U.S. on any kind of policy, we have the authority to actually freeze your assets, take your assets, and make life really difficult for you.
This is great. Michael Arrington, who is Brad Garlinghouse's best buddy, put this video out today, and then I'll show you what I said to it.
I firmly believe now that our day is coming. The conditions are such that there is room now for the defense of liberty. The people know that the system we have is not working. It's not working economically. It's not working monetarily. Our foreign policy is not working. And therefore, they're looking for answers. They will not welcome us with open arms. We've found that out. But there is a vacuum out there. And the vacuum is not in one political party. It is pervasive. It's throughout the country. It is throughout the political system.
It's the uniparty.
Our views are just as pervasive. Ideas spread. They can't stop them. An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army or any government.
You got that right. And it also can't be, an idea whose time has come can also not be stopped by an anti-crypto army, or an anti-crypto army in name only. This week, as you all know, Elizabeth Warren and her toady Gary Gensler got their butts drop-kicked as they deserve when you turn on the American people and you treat the American people like they're a bunch of criminals when they're just looking for any way out to provide for their families. Then yeah, you tend to get your butt kicked, and that's what happened to them this week. No matter how much power you give somebody, and no matter how much that power goes to their head, it doesn't matter. In the end, the good guys always win. I told you this during the Ripple case. We were going to win because we're the good guys. Well, that's not how life works. The bad guys, they get small victories, but they don't win the war. Just in, after Custodia Bank was denied a master account for its digital bank by the Federal Reserve, Wyoming legislators are contemplating applying for the master account with the Fed on behalf of Wyoming itself to assist Custodia in the fight. Here's a good one from Raoul Paul.
For those of you playing along at home in crypto, here is the same. The cycle gives you a peak of 400,000 in Bitcoin. Again, I have no idea. It could be 50% wrong. I don't really care. The point being is the structural rise in prices lies ahead, and it's going to be reasonably big. Now, again, what are the dates between 2025, June and December? Does crypto peak early? I don't know. I actually don't think so. It would, because we're going to more closely follow the 2013, 2017 cycle, but it's not clear. So I keep an open mind. It's not about nailing the top. It's not about getting the price right. It's about directionally getting this whole trend right. For those of you...
Okay. Stuart Alderati, looks like, what is he at? Great conversations today in Florence at, I don't even know what that is. The EU is focused on regulatory clarity, not regulation by enforcement. And after the week we've had stateside, it's good to see the U.S. trying to catch up. I like this, what this guy said. He says, I'm responding to this CEO of a company on the XRP ledger. A few weeks ago, I received an email from Ripple letting me know I was denied grant funding for ARK Institute with no real explanation. I understand and share his frustration since nobody at my company has been paid, but it isn't Ripple's job to fund us, just like it's not the government's job to supply me with health care. Look, folks, this guy is acting like a CEO, folks. Only way to go. Here's Standard Chartered, a Ripple partner. Listen to this.
I do think that there's a role in the world for a well-regulated, well-run cryptocurrency market. There's a much more interesting, from my perspective, role in the world for a digital assets marketplace. And the difference between the two, of course, is cryptocurrencies are not fiat currencies. They're not controlled by central bankers or issued by governments, and the value is a function of what people are prepared to pay for it, not what's the fundamental value of Bitcoin. Who knows? Even with gold, we can say what's the fundamental value of gold. And ultimately, at some point, it's going to end up on your ring or on your finger or on your ear in some markets. But Bitcoin is not going to end up hung around your neck anytime soon, I don't think. So I have no idea where the price of Bitcoin is going to go. I think there's a group of investors who think that cryptocurrencies have an interesting place in an investment portfolio. There's another group of speculators who like to speculate on anything that moves around a lot in price. That's okay, as long as it's done in an appropriate way. And the infrastructure implosion that you mentioned with FTX implosion, people going to jail, etc., are indications of market failures or regulation failures or legislation failures, bad behavior that don't detract from whatever the underlying value of a cryptocurrency is. I'm not too focused on that, to be honest. Importantly, the infrastructure to support cryptocurrencies is the same as the infrastructure to support the whole other range of, let's call it, much more obviously societally useful digital assets. I'm not saying that Bitcoin's not societally useful. It's quite controversial whether it is or not. I don't much care. And I think anybody that's buying or selling should have responsibilities to buy and sell responsibly, and we should have the mechanisms to make sure that they comply with the law.
And as you remember, yesterday, Standard Chartered analyst says other crypto ETFs like Solana and XRP likely a 2025 story. And Brad Garlinghouse had liked the tweet about that. And that's a good thing. Brad Garlinghouse right now acts like he acts almost like a giddy little schoolgirl that's excited about, but can't tell you what his secret is. That's the way he looks every time he talks about this to me. All right, here's John Deaton. You're going to want to see him on Sunday at 11 a.m. He's apparently on, I guess this is one of the, in Yuma, Arizona. I don't know why he was, I guess he was at the border. That's what he was doing.
Hey everybody, it's John Deaton. Just finished an interview on the record for Sunday morning at 11 a.m. on Channel 5. We talk about how I'm going to retire Elizabeth Warren, several other issues, including my recent trip from the southern border, where I learned when you count getaways, 12 million people have crossed the border. I discuss how it's a national security risk, a humanitarian crisis, and what needs to be done, like securing the border, ending catch and release, reinstituting our agreement with Mexico, because asylum seekers right now are coming to America. They're getting court dates in 2032 and 2033. Imagine that, getting a court date 9-10 years from now. Think they're going to show up? We have to stop the inflow of illegal immigration in this country. I'm going to do it. Elizabeth Warren's not. She acts like there isn't a crisis. Go to John Deaton for Senate.
Exactly. I bet there are some pissed off people in Massachusetts that are, she's up there saying, yeah, we're going to help the immigrants find places to stay instead of solving the problem. I'll bet you there's some pissed off people in Massachusetts about her wanting to help all these people get in there, come through our border, and then just put them up in places. Before long, it'll be the residents of Massachusetts being forced to put them in their houses. And while we're here, let's go ahead and remind everyone that Ian Kane is an Elizabeth Warren plant to run against John Deaton. We need to remind you of that often. And here is David Schwartz doing his 60 seconds.
I think if someone can't explain something in 60 seconds, they probably don't understand it. I'm David Schwartz, and this is Crypto in a Minute. Tokenization can improve efficiency by eliminating some of the problems with asset transfer and ownership. If you've ever bought a house, you know that it's very complicated to determine who owns a house. There's a lot of paperwork involved with the sale, recording the sale. There's a risk of fraud in the delivery of the payment and, of course, in being able to prove ownership of the asset. Tokenization can eliminate all those problems by using digital distributed ledgers to track the ownership of assets. That also simplifies things like if you want to borrow against an asset, use the asset for collateral, the person who's providing you the loan can more easily determine that you own the asset, and they can make sure that you aren't borrowing from a number of different lenders. Boom. Didn't even take a minute.
All right, he did it. Okay, in DAIXRP.com today, we're going to take a peek into the All the World's a Stage file, and we're going to look at some things that are very interesting coincidences around XRP. And I think you'll find them interesting. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that away we go. We're going to talk All the World's a Stage file and coincidences, theories, things you're really not allowed to talk about in social media. Crypto Police doesn't like these types of topics, which is why we talk about them. Or just one of the reasons. Here we go.